We're back with another political story in Europe, and Mustafa is with me to discuss a new era in Hungary. Mustafa, welcome to the show.
Yeah, so Magyar has beaten Orban, and everybody thinks this is great news for Hungary. Well, let me let you know something. The result of this thing is two things. First of all, Hungary's economy, inflation is going to go up. Their economy is going to go through a lot of strain, especially in a period where we're having a war, which is cutting fuel supplies all over the world. And on top of that, Hungary is going to become, put it on mute, Hungary is going to become the next proxy, just like Ukraine, to be the buffer zone for future wars against Russia, just like the Ukraine war. We're not talking about a hot war or a nuclear war, but Hungary's going to be the fall guy. And they needed Hungary because Hungary had veto for money to go to the Ukraine war, to fund Ukraine, and to fund the expansion of military might in Europe. So now that Hungary has put in an anti-Russian, so-called pro-European leader, they now have that veto vote gone away, so that they can go full forward with militarization, full forward with Ukraine, and perhaps even full forward with weaning themselves off of Russian gas. Like I said, what this is going to lead to is inflation in Hungary, because there's a big threat that Russia could pull all sales of natural gas and stuff, which Hungary is dependent upon its economy, or can start to actually use reverse sanctions on them. And there's also their threat that they're going to slowly go off of Russian gas by 2030. Nobody believes they want to do that. That would be suicide for them, just like with Europe. They need Russian gas. And I don't know if Europe and Hungary realize that by walking away from Russian gas and natural gas and petroleum products, that's going to be the end of Europe's economy, because getting gas from and electricity from getting gas and energy from the U.S. is way too expensive. Their argument is that they have to do it because it's a trap, and because Russia is going to use it as a bait, and then Russia plans to usurp them and get all kinds of unbearable demands of them if they're on that. But history has shown that it's not Russia that does that; it's the U.S. that does that. So I'll go back to what's happening in Hungary. The EU is going to give them something like, I don't know how many certain billions of dollars as a supplement to help them get through the economic crunch of moving away from natural gas from Russia. This sounds a lot like the Ukraine thing, in which you give a country funding and everything, and it's not relief for your economy. It's a carrot stick or a bait to get you to turn yourself into the sacrificial lamb and a buffer between Germany and France and the other countries, the way they did with Ukraine. So what we're seeing now is Ukraine 2.0. What are your thoughts, Afolabi?
You're absolutely right. I agree with you. But what the first thing he has to do is that, I mean, he can't just flip a switch and all of a sudden they wean themselves off Russian gas. Basically, I think
Yeah,
they have a long-term gas contract with Gazprom. So that makes it
yeah.
very, very difficult for them to wean themselves off, because, I mean, a lot of Russia's gas still goes to Ukraine. So basically, what I feel is that have to speed up their connection to an alternative energy source. How they do that is left to be seen. It appears they were talking with Croatia at a point in time, but the problem is the piped Russian gas is still the most affordable to them. So, like you rightly mentioned, they might end up becoming another Western proxy to Russia. But I don't see how they can win themselves off Russia gas anytime soon. They're still basically
No, no.
dependent on Russia gas.
Go ahead.
So
Especially now that
it's not like flipping the switch. It's going to take time.
no, no. Especially since there's a war going on that's affecting the market price of gas and oil. Now, here's another
Exactly.
thing. Here's another thing. Drones through Latvia attacked Russia, and we believe that Latvia is selling drones to Ukraine, or that they're letting Poland fly over their space. Countries keep antagonizing Russia. Um, Magyar won in Hungary by a very anti-Russian, Russophobic campaign, talking very bad about Russians and showing a lot of uh, verbal aggression about Russians. This is the same thing that happened in Ukraine, and we saw what happened with them. So what I'm saying is that you're poking the bear with Russia. I'm not saying militarily. What Russia may do, since Russia holds all the cards now and is making so much money off of natural gas and oil, it can say, no, 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 let's speed the process. You don't have to wean yourself off. We'll cut you off now. The same thing with Europe. And if that happens, they die. How can you say you're going to wean yourself off of someone who's helping you, and at the same time, you're talking about how in the future you're going to destroy them? Do you see what I'm saying? So that sends a message to Russia, just like to Iran when they knew the US was coming after them. They're like, okay, it looks like if their economy grows in the future, they're going to have a coalition to go to war with us. So let's make sure it doesn't grow by cutting our contracts with them now. So what I'm saying is that you're antagonizing Russia, and the more and more powerful Iran becomes and is able to repel the US, the more and more powerful China becomes and everything. Russia will now say, okay, these guys are an existential threat to us, so let's cut everything now, and that will cause a disaster with the economies with throughout Europe and especially Hungary, which doesn't have a stable economy anyway. What are your thoughts, Afolabi?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it would be a wise decision for Russia to do that. Because now that, like you rightly mentioned, Russia is dictating the heartbeat of Europe as far as energy is concerned, I think it would be good for them to do that quickly and not give them the time. Because for Hungary to pull this off, actually need time. In fact, the timeline they're looking at now is somewhere in the region of probably 2035, which is a long time coming. So as quickly as Russia can, strangulate them, the faster it is for them before they become a hydra that they can't control. A hydra that's basically being controlled by, or like you rightly mentioned, a
And they had
proxy of the
Orban,
West.
yeah, and they had Orban who refused to fund money for Ukraine, which was wise because you don't want to piss off Russia. And also, it's not Ukraine is not Hungary's war. It's not their war. They refused to push money for that and refused to push money to continue spending on a Europe military. They'll say that's pro-Russia. No, that's not pro-Russia. It's called being neutral. Pro-Russia would be to start helping giving money or logistics to Russia. So we want to be very clear. Hungary was not pro-Russian. They were neutral. Europeans say, oh, if you're not with us, you're for Russia. No. Why would I want to be with you when you're on a suicide mission? First of all, forget about the energy thing. To even talk about going to war with Russia is suicide. That's all I have to say. Last thoughts, FLRB.
Yeah, I quite agree with you. A country that you can call pro-Russian is maybe Iran, who are giving them drones, basically against
Yeah.
fight against Ukraine. But certainly they were neutral, and I'd say neutrality with a clause, basically closer to aligning with the West and not with the Eastern Bloc. So,
Yeah.
like you rightly mentioned, Russia has to take a decision quickly with this government change in Hungary, a decision that will give them a better perspective of the future and that will protect their interests. And I think the quicker they strangulate them, the better it is for them, so that they don't become a proxy of the West or a hydra they can't control in the future, basically.
Very quickly, let me tell you why they're not going to not just Hungary. Europe is not going to anytime soon get off of natural gas from Russia. You know why? Because within
It's
3 or 4 months.
impossible. It's almost impossible.
Let me tell you why. But here's what's coming. Because of this Iran war and the blockade, there's about to become a global depression. These guys are sitting down here worried about beating about the Ukraine war, and they're not even looking at what America's doing in Iran, which is destroying them. America's actions in Iran will destroy Europe with the global depression. So
Of
that's all.
course.
Take us out, Pallavi.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something. Do you know that
Yeah.
even this blockade right now, they've actually even stopped Chinese ships from passing, from what I hear. This is going to shoot
I
the
don't think
global price of crude oil astronomically, maybe by 100%. And
is that
all the
news. That's
European
something that just
countries are going to suffer.
is that American propaganda or is that a latest flash in the news? Because I know that shipping is slowed down, but I think China told America we're going to push our ships through there and dared America to shoot it down. But we'll see what happens, though.
Okay, okay.
All right, take us out.
It's been another brilliant political show. We've been discussing the change of mantle of leadership in Hungary vis-a-vis their alignment with Russia and their being a proxy of the West and what Russia needs to do quickly to preserve its own sovereignty and protection. And from Mustafa and myself, we'll be back again with another interesting political story. Bye for now.
Thank you. Nice one. I'm sure your son is like, let's go home, Dad, Avi.
He's having fun. He just came to get a snack or two from me. He's been playing on the field.
Oh, okay, that's good.